Well, I tell you, I look at white people who are friendly. There's some very decent white people who essentially are doing their best, to just get along because they're in the system too. But the one thing I task white people with is the fact that they live in a land of privilege based on just their skin color. So they may be good and they may have a black friend, or they may be having the best of intentions, as I spoke about, intentions being the key word. But if you're living in a place of white supremacy, and your white skin gives you an automatic pass based upon white privilege, then unless you are arguing up front or you are picking up your gun to deal with true equality and to go after the racist cops that you see stopping black people and beating them on the ground, if you as a white person ain't going up there and kicking their ass as well, then essentially you're just living white privilege, and you're guilty by default. You see what I'm saying? So sure, there's a lot of so-called good white people out there, and I applaud their vocality, for want of a better word, at the injustices. But I don't respect their lack of commitment bodily to this fight. You see, and I don't sense their lack. I don't see their lack of commitment to resources. And I'm not talking about all that have. I'm talking about those in the majority that don't. And it comes to a thing where the people who are the staunch racists and the Klansmen are now going to be outed about where they are. They're all in the government. And when you start outing them and they start becoming more prevalent to everyone, then it's just like taking the covers off of a festering maggot farm. You open up the thing, once the light of day and the air hits them, they start scrambling like roaches. And we begin to see who they are. But they're working behind the scenes. As far as that piece that you read about them now saying, well, we don't want to see, let's not talk about race anymore. That's white people again trying to make sure that you don't, because we're digging up too much. It's too much dirt. Every day, white people who start making claims about what they did, you go deeper back, you find out they didn't do it.
That's
the
right.
more that
That's
white
true.
people keep talking. In fact, even Adolf Hitler himself had to get to Goebbels. When Goebbels started talking, we came from a race of Superman, Hitler had to say, shut the hell up. No, we didn't. You're pushing it out there, and people are going to start digging to find out if we are.
Mm.
And he did. He was forced himself to go ahead and commission a delegation of people, which I put in my book, to go find out where the white race really began in this place called Hyperborea. Going into finding this place in Shambhala, where tall white men who were in airplanes who shuttled Perry and his people to land and tell them that, we're worried about you and blah, blah. Everything happens for white people. You go up in outer space when you're on TV or when you're looking at movies. Ain't nothing but white people. The whole Star Trek is this ridiculous nonsense where you see them going into places where nobody has ever gone. And these white people come out there with blonde hair and blue eyes, or white people come out with some kind of evidence of the Black Plague on their face, and that then distinguishes them as a race. If you look at the Star Trek nonsense, and look at the last Star Trek when they went way beyond, and the brother became a god, or what do you call it? He was greater than all the rest of them put together, but you didn't hear too much of this brother. You didn't hear too much about what it is he accomplished standing there at the edge of space. And, of course, all of that is an illusion that we even went into outer space. So the game right now is to convince us and to maintain us in a state of illusion and to keep the illusory state that we are advancing as a people. But the advancement is through the eyes and the actions of this Caucasian. Everything that we look at as our future is based upon what he has laid down the groundwork for. And think about that, brothers and sisters. Everything about his future has nothing to do with us reintegrating ourselves back with Mother Earth. Everything is about completely paving Nature Mother over, even paving the body. He has now created technologies to simulate what melanin does spiritually and physiologically and psychospiritually. So all of his advancement is about putting on an exoskeleton that enhances his powers, which is essentially him. It makes him jump higher, it makes him fight better, and so forth. What the hell is he doing except giving you an idea of what synthetic melanin would look like from his angle? So you have to understand that whatever it is that he's laying down as the future for our world, the future of our world was already being mapped out when he came and conquered, which is why I know that anti-gravity, the building of the pyramids, all of the things that went into making us who we were as the ancients, that had to be stopped in some way. So now it's being reintegrated. We have somehow given him humanity by our very presence, by our very suffering, because if we weren't here and had the fortitude and the stamina to deal with his, forgive me, bullshit and his madness and his sickness, if we did not have the stamina to deal with that, man, he would have been killed himself off long ago. So what I'm saying here, as I'm wrapping this up, is that the technology and all this fascination we have with artificial intelligence, it is to take away your ability to grow and enhance your own intelligence. Everything that you see a computer does, you can do. Everything that you could pass, everything that your cell phone can do to communicate around the world and to others, you can do with your mind. So this preoccupation with technology outside of ourselves has undermined our concentration on bringing the potential of this original technology to its maximum efficiency. And that's what I think and I believe was done to us, to undermine us, the ability we had to deal with the organic technology. We mastered that. We were dealing with outside. We used to project ourselves outside the 10 spheres of the dome that's around our world. We used to be able to do things. We had the power to do that. Now they want us not to deal with the reality that we created or we can create. They want us to deal with a virtual reality, a world that is made up inside of a cocoon of lights and sounds that looks real but is not. It is everything that they have programmed to program your mind, to make sure that your attention, which is the most precious part of your consciousness, your attention is diverted towards that virtual reality. So I say to the brothers and sisters when they come to our university online, that you're not learning how to adapt yourself to that. You're learning what it is that they are distracting you from when you come to our school. You are learning what the original technology had the capabilities to do. And hopefully, when you learn that here, that knowledge transduces into your DNA so that when you have children, that knowledge would automatically be carried on in the mitochondria of the black woman, who essentially is carrying the original Library of Alexandria in her mitochondria.